Meeting to order. This is the Zoning Board of Appeals. We're here to entertain a request from the trustees of the Masonic Lodge. First order of business is for us to introduce ourselves. I'm a board member, Brian Christ, and I'll act as chair.
I'm a board member, Jerry Clausen.
I'm Dave Olson. I'm not a board member.
No, you're not?
Not.
Has he not been appointed?
He has.
Right?
He has.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. By the
I'm
council.
Dave Olson. I
You are now, anyway.
had to get the first
You are now.
First time. Mark Jennings, board member. Phil Helgeson, city attorney.
I'm Matt Wolf. I'm the city administrator / zoning administrator for City Prescott.
And representing the trustees is Mr. Finley.
And Warren Brown.
Okay. Do you want to give us just a little summary of what you're planning to do?
What do you want Mary to do? Mary, do you want to just explain it?
Sure, so I.
If you guys could go up to the podiums, please, just so they capture you on the mic.
I'm Mary Johnson, and the Masonic Lodge is applying for a conditional use permit. The buyer is planning on duplexing it. So, did you receive the paperwork?
Yes.
Yeah, we
Yes.
did.
Okay. Is there any questions you have?
Is the parking going to be in the alley, the backside of the building?
Would you like me to maybe just speak?
Yeah, sure. Okay.
So yes, the parking is gonna be off the alley is our plan.
Can you guys switch? Sorry if you
Yeah.
could.
Sorry.
You're the potential buyer?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. So my wife and I are purchasing the property, plans to convert the existing Masonic Lodge into a duplex. It'll be a upper and lower duplex because both levels have two means of egress existing. To answer your question on the parking, we're planning to put a parking space off the alley behind the building.
I believe there is a gravelled area there now.
Correct.
For
Yep.
parking space, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I'm a little rusty on building permits, but when the building permit is issued, does that include all of the fire code issues as well?
Yep, so that will be part of the building permit review.
Just for reference as well, one of the conditions we do have in here as part of if it is approved is that they'll have to come up, as Casey just said, to Wisconsin Uniform Dwelling Code SPS 320 through 325. That's something that we worked with our building inspector just to verify that. I think Casey's already talked to the building inspector as well about that.
Any questions from,
I mean, from what I read this through, it sounds like they meet all the current setbacks and anything for a special use permit, it meets all the requirements from what I understand, reading this.
Yeah, the one item that we are having them go through is a duplex does require a square footage of 10,000 square feet, which the parcel currently is not. So the lot next to them, which is owned by the Masonic Lodge, we are requiring as part of this for the complete CO to be issued, to have that go through a CSM process to combine the two lots and go through Planning Commission for approval.
Yeah, that was a question. So you are acquiring that other open
Correct,
lot,
yep.
so it will all be, okay.
Yes.
Is the parking lot gonna be paved or gravel?
Right now, we are planning to pave that. However, obviously, construction costs we have to keep in budget. Ideally, we have enough in the budget to pave that this year because I think that's best for whatever tenants end up moving in there.
did the city receive any letters or inquiry for or against?
We didn't receive any inquiries, we sent out the notice to all residents within 100 feet of the property lines of the parcel in question, and we did receive any responses.
Technicality. Under your recommendations, under the first one, it says any omissions of any conditions not listed shall not release the property owner. So does that sort of mean if you forgot to put in a condition that it reverts to the property owner's risk?
It's just simply saying that the conditions that are listed here is the ones they have to abide by specifically, but if we omitted anything within this memo, that they'll have to go back, correct me if I'm wrong, Phil, if I'm not interpreting my own memo correctly, but that they'll have to go back to the
Giving
city
your own
owners,
legal
they still have
advice.
So, yeah, my interpretation of that would be that you're just saying if there's any other legal requirements, they will still have to comply with those.
Okay.
So even if it's not listed in, a special use permit, all other requirements must be met.
Is there any other requirements that we need to be concerned about?
I mean, in terms of our review, again, it meets the setbacks. We're requiring the building come up to code. Not that I'm aware of, but again, we have a city code of 600 and
Yeah.
X chapters, so.
Right. I get it. I just, if there was anything else that were to come up that would prevent us from converting this to a duplex, obviously the property doesn't serve us any value if we
Right.
cannot convert it.
Yeah.
And if, obviously there's, budgets and everything in line here too, and if there was anything that came up that was, extraordinarily costly, it would also, potentially change the project.
So did they receive a copy of the decision criteria that you gave to us as well?
Did Casey? He did not, no.
Okay.
No.
So,
Because, I think technically, the Masonic Lodge is
right.
because we haven't closed on the property
Right,
until next
right.
Friday, so.
Did either of the parties then receive that?
They did not receive that. I
Okay.
mean, we sent this specifically to you because obviously you guys are the
Right.
deciding board who makes that decision.
So if we make it conditional on these, then they would get those conditions.
If you have an additional condition for the approval of this, is that what you're saying? It would
Right. You have the decision criteria here, and,
Well, he's saying what the criteria is, they would be held to.
Right.
Correct. I mean,
Criteria is followed.
right. Any other questions?
One of the conditions is making a duplex is having that other lot next to it. What prevents you from 5 years down the line selling that lot?
It'll be combined, so I would have to.
Okay, so it becomes legally one
Right.
space
Yeah.
then?
If we ever did anything with that lot, it'd potentially be to build a garage for this rental.
Okay.
And maybe I can clarify that piece. Once the CSM is done, they would then have to try to apply to get a new CSM that would go to the city for review if they were trying to subdivide. My understanding is that would probably be a non-conforming lot at that point if they tried to divide again. So it would, I think it'd be legally, I don't know that they could. Obviously, can't predict the future, but.
And that alley that they're gonna use as a access to the parking lot and everything, that's an alley, that's technically a city street, it's not one of the unofficial alleys in town.
correct. I believe if you look at the image that was provided, it shows the dimensions, but you can also see that there's that right of way that is between the two parcel where the alley runs. So
Yep.
that is actually dedicated right away for that alleyway.
Okay.
I don't have any other questions.
I'm good.
Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion, we approve the request for the variance, I'll just say outlined in the memo, March 30th, 2022.
Could I make a suggestion that you should maybe just do a discussion on the criteria to make sure it fits it prior to approving, just so it's on the record that you went through the criteria?
Okay.
You want to review the criteria? Do you want one of us to read it out loud so we got the criteria and say that it's been formally discussed?
Yeah, I think so.
All right, item 1, the establishment, maintenance, or operation of conditional use will not be detrimental or endanger the public health, safety, morals, comfort, or general welfare. We should be fine on that. We haven't had any input from any of the surrounding neighbors or anybody else. The uses, values, and enjoyment of other property in the neighborhood for the purposes already permitted shall be in no foreseeable manner substantially impaired, diminished by the establishment, maintenance, or operation of the conditional use, and proposed use is compatible with the use of the adjacent land. The establishment of the conditional use will not impede the normal and orderly development and improvement of the surrounding property for uses permitted in the district. Adequate utilities, access roads, drainage, and other necessary site improvements have been or are being provided. Adequate measures have been or will be taken to provide ingress and egress as or so designed as to minimize traffic congestion in the public streets. The conditional use shall conform to all applicable regulations of the district in which it is located. And lastly, item 7, the proposed use does not violate floodplain regulations covering the site. So in order for us to grant a variance, we must find that all of that criteria has been met.
Just for correction, that is a typo in there. It should have said special use permanent, not variance.
Yeah.
So my apologies, that was my
Right.
mistake.
Special use.
Do we have to go through the other?
Yeah, I would just briefly touch on the other areas that in your evaluation, it would meet the other additional criteria listed on the bottom of that page.
Jared, do you want to go through that?
Sure. In addition to conditional or special use permit, the zoning board of appeals shall also evaluate the effect of the proposed use upon 1, the maintenance of safe and healthful conditions, 2, the prevention and control of water pollution, including sedimentation, 3, existing topographic and drainage features and vegetative cover on the site, 4, the location of the site with respect to floodplains and floodways of rivers and streams, 5, the erosion potential of the site based upon degree and direction of slope, soil type, and vegetative cover, 6, the locations of the site with respect to existing or future access roads, 7, the need of the proposed use for shoreland location, 8, its compatibility with uses on adjacent land, and 9, the number of liquid waste to be generated and adequacy of proposed disposal systems.
And then we should go through.
And then I would probably just, as board members, acknowledge that you believe those criteria have been met as each individual board member. That's correct.
I believe they've been met.
I believe they've been met.
I believe they've been met.
I believe they've been met or shall be met through the building process, because there's a construction process that will be occurring, and they need to follow the building permits accordingly.
Now I think it'd be time for a motion.
Would you repeat your motion?
Do we want to include all this in this motion?
Well, I guess it would be
No.
subject to, right?
Yeah, that they've met the criteria, so I think you can just make the motion as you did before.
All right, so,
Are you recording this? Oh, they are.
Got you all.
Great.
so I'll make a motion to approve the special use permit per city code 635-34 as outlined in the memo from Matt Wolf, March 30th, 2022, to include the decision criteria of the zoning board is acknowledged that they will be met.
Is there a second?
I second.
Any other discussion?
Do you want to put the conditions of use in that, on the last page of the memo? The recommendation section?
What is it?
You mean under the recommendation?
Yeah, to add those conditions to the,
Meaning, read them or?
yeah, I'd read them.
Okay.
To say that they're added.
Staff recommends approval of the requested special use permit with the following conditions. Any omissions of any conditions not listed shall not release the property owner, developer from abiding by city ordinances. Certified survey map is submitted to City of Prescott Planning Commission and approved. Combining the two parcels currently owned by the trustees of Northwestern Lodge 105F and AM with the parcels numbers listed to meet zoning code 63517, that the property shall meet Wisconsin Uniform Dwelling Code SPS 320325 as it relates to a duplex. And 4, applicant must receive all building permits required as part of the remodel of the property.
So you would make, and I would probably state you're adding that to the motion to make those conditions of the motion and granting. of
I just add that to the previous motion that the conditions of the staff recommended approval of the special permit are also met.
Repeat your second.
I second the motion.
Do we need a roll call or?
I'd do a roll call just for.
Okay, roll call vote, meaning
Yay.
Yay.
Approved.
aye. Motion carries.
All right.
Good luck.
Thank you. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Sorry, for all the records, I have to make sure all that's out. Sure.
To prepare us with the next motion. Now, read this or read that.
I know, it's not the normal variance where it's just, they didn't meet this criteria. Right. This one is a little,
You want it more spelled out.
because it's a special use, so the conditions become part of the special use.
Right, they have to follow all the conditions. Someone doesn't run rogue and do something on their own.
You want to go to the next step? I don't know if there's other business and then.
So I have a question, is Jerry an alternate or a full-time now?
Jerry, I believe, is a full-time, unless he does, and then he may be still be an alternate until we find a full-time.
Because I checked on the website, there's 5 names and there should be 5 regular, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
So does he become a regular and then you look for an
I can talk
alternate?
to Jerry after the meeting. I don't think we've technically adjourned yet.
No, we haven't, no. We're under other business, right?
motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Okay, we've
Now
adjourned.
is your other business.
Yeah, when our terms.
So how many, there's